Hi, welcome to our Zoom meeting.
Hello, with a few technical difficulties,
Yes,
we're getting started.
yes, I hope that more people are able to join us late. If not, hopefully you're catching this on the recording. So either way, you get the information. So that's great.
Well, we thought we would talk about portion sizes today and what do you need to eat? Because when you're on a diet, you don't want to starve yourself, because when you don't eat enough, then your body goes into storage mode. So we wanted to talk about what we need to eat and stay healthy, but yet lose weight and
keep it off.
Right, and keep it off. That's the key.
Right. And so some of the things we're going to talk about, if you are on the Take Shape for Life plan, if you're on the 5-in-1, you might not be eating some of these food groups yet, but it's still going to pertain to you, because eventually you're going to get to maintenance or transition, and then you are going to use these things. So if you hear something that we say tonight about eating grains and you know that you're not eating those right now, continue to not eat them right now, but know that when you add them in, this is the rule of thumb you're going to want to use.
I think we can all identify with portion sizes. Before I lost my weight, I was the queen of finding the biggest piece of meat I could find at the party or at the house, something like that. But what we really like to show is to eat on a smaller plate. This happens to be a 9-inch plate. If you can see the eating portion of it, that is 9 inches, and that's the suggestion that the suggested size. Notice the size of my dinner plates. This is what we use on a daily basis.
Here, I'll hold it up and compare it to yours.
Okay. So it's quite a bit different, and I can fit a lot of stuff on the rims of that
yeah,
plate.
think of Thanksgiving, how much you would get on this at Thanksgiving. It would probably be, maybe you would still need a dessert plate.
Yeah.
That would be
I
too
have
much.
Salad plate, dessert plate. My china is bigger than this. So.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
So all that's unnecessary.
Yeah. So that's one thing that we like to do, is to make our plates smaller.
Yes, and a really good rule of thumb is to try to use a 9-inch plate. And this one
that one's 8 inches.
This is 8 inches, but look at the difference. Here, I'm gonna get in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's not quite, it's a little bit smaller than what you would need. And I think a great thing to do is just to go home and find whatever you have that's maybe salad or pie size, and go ahead and measure it.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh, mine's too small. Mine's only 5 or 6. And I measured it and it was 8.5. So I just went ahead and switched. And I am much more mindful when I eat off of a plate like that.
Yeah. It's just that then you don't have to think about it. You don't have to just narrow it down to that big plate.
Right.
Narrow it down. That's a better way to do it. So.
Okay. So then we were going to talk about let's talk about food groups real quick before we do the other. Or do we want to talk about the other portions? No, let's talk about those and then we talk about them.
Okay. This is a little visual, and this is that same paper plate that's a 9-inch plate. But anyway, with you, I love it, my artwork and my writing.
I'm just laughing because it's backwards.
Oh, yeah, it is. Is it backwards to you? It is.
No, it's not. I can read it.
Oh, okay. Good.
It's just backwards to us. So this is the visual that we like to use. The majority of your plate, or 50% of your plate, will be vegetables and fruits. Those are what you really want to bulk up on. And then the protein is only 25%, and along with the starches. So when you do go on the 5-in-1 plan and add the starches to your food groups, that would be what you would use. It's just a quarter of that small 9-inch plate.
Right. And that's what we have to think of. This is what Doreen just held up as more of the size that you're going to get at a restaurant. So we like to think of other things to help measure how much you get. Yeah. So the starch, even though it's 1/4 or 1/4 of that, it's really about the size of a tennis ball. So that would be anything like rice or noodles or your bread. When you're going to have it, when you're maintaining, you're going to want no more than a tennis ball. So maybe you want to go to Olive Garden. I would suggest looking for those dishes that have maybe a main dish of a protein, some kind of chicken or fish, and then they just have a little side of pasta if you need to indulge in the pasta, because a whole bowl is not going to serve your health purposes. This is the size of a starch, and I think that's really a good way to remember that it isn't very much. It's just a little bit.
And these visuals are good to know. Like you said, when you go to a restaurant, it's good to have that in mind, because you don't have your measuring cups at home. But
yeah.
A deck of cards is what they show us for the size of protein that you need. Sometimes people say the palm of your hand. So if you were going to get a chicken breast, you only want it to be this size. You don't want those huge breasts.
Right.
That I look for.
And that would be like a 3-ounce portion. Right. So if you are on a plan that has letting you eat a 6-ounce because you're only eating it once a day, then you probably would need 2 deck of cards.
Right.
So that's what you want to do. But if you're going to have like this meal with this plate twice a day, then you're going to have 1 deck of cards each time you consume it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. Okay, and then this would be a small paperback book is what they show for the size of your vegetables and fruits. So that kind of gives you a visual for the size portion of your vegetables and fruits.
Yes. Yes. And then
It's a good book.
I have noticed, since I've really been mindful in the health food sections of the grocery stores, at least the ones that I've shopped at, they often have their own set of serving spoons and scoops and ladles that are for a portion size. So this brand, it looks with the green handle, it's a whole brand. It's called Healthy Steps. And so it will tell you this is a vegetable serving. And so this is 1 vegetable serving. And I think that that is really good to know that my ladle is the right size for vegetable. And I thought this was really interesting. This, I want to show you compared to the vegetable. This is an ice cream scoop. This is the true serving size of an ice cream. And I think that, you know, when you think of the bowl that you'd like to put your ice cream in, it would look huge compared to this little scoop. So I think if you are shopping and you want to be mindful, a great thing would be to look for new scoops and ladles, because you can also get ones. I know this brand, I have this soup one, and it really kind of broke my heart at first that only 1 ladle was a whole serving of soup. It's a little bit bigger than this one, but not a lot. It's about 3/4 of a cup. So I think changing not only the dishes you eat off of, but the things that you dish it up, measure it with, is a great thing to do. And in the beginning, you might just want to grab your measuring cup and you just get a 1/2 cup of vegetables. That's a great way to do it. It's usually a 1/2 cup for most vegetables, and leafy greens are a full cup, and that's what equals a serving.
You want to do next? This one?
Yeah.
We talked about the 100-calorie fuelings that are listed at the bottom of the page of the challenge page. And I thought this was interesting. What the program suggests is for this is my handful of almonds. You can see the almonds here. I counted, there are like 53 almonds in my handful, and that would be, you know, something that I would have done when I was heavier. But the actual portion size suggestion is 10 almonds. So you can see the total difference. It's 5 times the amount of what I used to eat.
Yeah.
That's what they would say for fueling, and you can add a celery stick to that too.
Right.
To have
Or
your
a couple pieces of cauliflower, so that you're getting protein and carbs.
Right.
But this sort of fueling isn't your whole lunch or dinner. It's just a tide me over, so that I'm eating something every 2 to 3 hours to keep your metabolism up, to keep you from getting overly hungry. So that's, you know, I think that gets a little sad when we're used to a handful.
Yeah.
But I think it's great to be mindful and count it out. And we also looked it up. So it's 10 almonds and a celery stick as one pairing. It would be 29 pistachios or 12 cashews, 20 peanuts. So that's just, you know, one way to look at it. Or you could have like 1/2 cup of blueberries with a dollop of yogurt. So I'm thinking a dollop is maybe like that.
Yeah,
Maybe a little less, 2 tablespoons maybe.
Yeah.
So, So that's just one way to do it. And I also have noticed that for me, since the ladles and the plates make such a difference, I've decided to use that to my advantage. And I think I've mentioned, so I drink a lot of herbal tea to kind of trick myself and get my water in. If it's herbal, no caffeine, it can count as water, and you're getting that flavor in. It kind of mentally makes me a little bit happier to have a little bit of taste, something that tastes sweet, but it doesn't have any sugar. So I just brought some of my favorite. Like this is peppermint caffeine-free tea, and this is just a fruit tea sampler. Even my kids like this one. So that's a great way to get my water in. And I switched. This was the cup that comes with my dishes. And I went to one of those pottery places with my kids, and I made this bad boy. And it actually, I have measured, and this holds 2.5 of these.
Wow.
So when I'm drinking a cup of tea, I am getting a whole lot of water in. And so I'll even drink my water. So use that serving size in reverse to help you out when you go for your water, because that is really going to boost the weight loss, keep you full longer, and help stretch you out between those 2 and 3 hour fuelings.
And I think we've mentioned before that when you feel hungry, actually, they say that you are thirsty or you're needing to hydrate yourself. So but I like the way that you portion that. That's a good way to do that. I do Powerade Zero bottles and just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like flavor. I like plain.
Yeah, and
But-
I think it really does come down to personal preference, because
Right.
there's a lot of scientific studies that say that ice cold water really boosts the metabolism and that it's a better choice. But for me, it hurts my teeth and I don't like it. And if I'm not going to drink it, it isn't the better choice for me.
Exactly. True.
So I have room temperature water, but I drink it, or I have hot tea.
Yeah.
So I think even if a study tells you one thing, the best answer is whatever will get you to do that.
Exactly. So to get that 100 ounces in, it's awesome.
Yes. So this is where I would open it up to questions, and we have one person here. Jamie, do you have any questions?
Well, you were talking about your balanced snacks,
Yes.
your carb and protein balanced snacks.
Yeah.
I know there's some on there that don't have stuff on the 5-in-1. So should we avoid those, or is it actually balanced that we can eat it? Because there's one with like strawberries and something.
I would avoid them if you're
Okay.
on one.
Wait
It's
until
yep.
transition.
And then
Yeah.
once it's transition, it's a way so that you get that same benefit that you had using the prepackaged meals. But you want to wait until transition for those food groups. So that was a really good question, because
Yeah,
I didn't want anyone to get confused. We could probably find some that would be similar, but more often or not, you're going to be better off sticking with the prepackaged meals.
Mm-hmm.
But and so just to review, you're going to probably start the morning, if you're on transition or you're doing your own program, you're going to want to start the day with maybe like about a 200 calorie fueling that is carb and protein balanced. And then in 2 to 3 hours, you're going to have maybe probably a 100 calorie fueling, 100 to 120 calories. And then in another 2 to 3 hours, you're going to probably have a meal like this, where you're getting all these things in, but in a 9-inch plate instead of a 12-inch. And then in 2 to 3 hours, you're going to have your 100 calorie fueling again. And then you'll have another meal, your supper, and then another fueling before you go to bed. So you're going to just still, even though you're not using the prepackaged meals and just doing the 100 calories, you're going to get your meals in, but you're not going to wait a long time in between fuelings.
That blood sugar.
Yep. And it keeps your metabolism boost, and you just keep on losing weight and staying healthy. So, okay. Well, if you, I'm sorry so many of you were not able to get on, but if there's a topic that you would like us to address, please post it. Our days are getting limited. We only have 2 weeks left, so that's for sure one more meeting. And then if we find the need for a closure meeting, we sure will schedule that as well. So we'll be looking forward to seeing your posts, and we're glad that you watched tonight.
Thanks for joining in.
All right. Thanks, Jamie. Thank you. Bye.